Welcome. We're joined here today by Amy,
This is Amy Etter, and I consent to recording.
Susan,
Hi, this is Susan, and I consent to be recorded.
Isaac,
Hi, this is Isaac, and I consent to being recorded.
Johnny,
This is Johnny, and I consent to being recorded.
Matthew,
Hey, this is Matthew, and I consent to being recorded.
and Mika.
This is Mika, and I consent to being recorded.
All right. Did you know that right now, beneath your feet, there's enough heat to power entire nations for generations to come? The Earth's core is one of the most powerful and underutilized energy sources on the planet, and some countries are already proving what is possible when we tap into it. After researching this topic extensively, I wanted to spread awareness of how geothermal research is already transforming the energy landscapes of countries like Iceland and Japan. Today, I will inform you about exactly what geothermal energy is and how it is harnessed, how Iceland has become a global powerhouse in geothermal use, and the unique roadblocks that Japan faces when developing its own geothermal resources. Now let's begin. Geothermal energy harnesses the natural heat stored beneath the Earth's surface to generate electricity and heat homes. According to the National Resources Defense Council, geothermal energy systems draw on existing underground reservoirs of hot water and steam. Unlike solar or wind energy, steam from these reservoirs rises to the surface and reaches turbines, which generate electricity through axial rotation. The thermal energy can also be used directly to heat homes and buildings, making it a versatile energy source. Unlike solar or wind energy, geothermal energy is not dependent on weather conditions or the time of day, and it provides a consistent and stable power supply. Now, because the heat originates deep within the Earth, it is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Stanford University's Woods Institute for the Environment has noted that heat from deep underground has significant potential to contribute to the global clean energy transition, becoming very prevalent as non-renewable resources naturally diminish. The resource is particularly accessible in The resource is particularly accessible in regions along large tectonic plate fault lines where volcanic and seismic activity naturally attract and pull heat up from beneath the Earth's surface. Now that we understand what geothermal energy is and how it works, let us take a look at Iceland, which has become the world's most successful example of geothermal energy in action. Iceland has positioned itself as a global leader in renewable energy, with geothermal resources forming the backbone of its entire energy system. Now, according to Energy Transition, the global energy wind, nearly 100% of Iceland's energy consumption is derived from renewable energy resources. Geothermal energy alone accounts for about 70% of Iceland's total renewable energy production. The Hellisskeiði geothermal plant in Hengel, Iceland, is one of the largest geothermal power stations in the world and a monolith of Iceland's extensive utilization of geothermal energy production. Iceland's success with geothermal energy is rooted in its unique geological position. The country sits directly on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, a tectonic boundary that provides extraordinary access to underground heat reservoirs. This geological advantage has allowed Iceland to develop geothermal infrastructure on a scale that few other nations can replicate. However, Iceland's heavy reliance on geothermal energy has also contributed to the rising energy costs as demand continues to grow alongside the country's expanded economy and population. Now, where Iceland demonstrates the extraordinary potential of geothermal energy in ideal conditions, Japan presents a different picture of a nation with vast resources but significant barriers to development. Japan possesses enormous geothermal potential due to its location within the Pacific Ring of Fire, yet it faces significant legal and socioeconomic obstacles that have slowed their development. The country has thousands of hot springs, known as onsen, which are deeply embedded in Japanese culture and tourism. The same volcanic and seismic activity that produces these springs also creates ideal situations and conditions for geothermal energy production. Despite these natural advantages, restrictive legal and socio-economic policies have historically slowed geothermal research and development in Japan. For instance, many of Japan's most promising geothermal sites are located within or near national parks, where industrial development is heavily legally prohibited. Also, Japan's experience with nuclear fallout in Fukushima scarred the general public's outlook on renewable resources. Now, finally, hot spring resort operators have also historically opposed geothermal development and they constantly say that drilling could leach their water supplies. According to the Geothermal Resource Society of Japan, ground source heat pump installations, which are ground source heat pumps, are pumps which circulate heated subterranean water to and fro, have been steadily increasing, suggesting a gradual societal shift toward greater acceptance of not just geothermal energy, but all renewable resources. Expanded geothermal development could significantly increase Japan's energy independence, reducing its reliance on imported fossil fuels. Now, as Japan continues to reevaluate this energy policy, geothermal energy is vigorously discussed amongst officials, colliding independency policies and traditional preservation practices against each other. Now, over the course of this speech, I've informed you about what geothermal energy is and how it's harnessed, and how Iceland has the international example of extensive geothermal energy usage, and the complex challenges Japan faces in unlocking its own geothermal potential. The heat beneath our feet has been a primordial pillar of Earth's lush geothermal resources, and as nations around the world search for clean and reliable alternatives to fossil fuels, geothermal is a very important and reliable type of renewable energy that many people are not familiar with. Despite its shy nature, being deep underneath the Earth's crust, geothermal energy really turns up the heat when it comes to renewables. Thank you very much.